What's up guys, and welcome back to another Joe Cobra video. In today's video I want to give you guys my pros and cons on physical versus digital gaming. I will go through what I think are the pros and cons for both sides and see if we have a clear winner by the end of the video. Now, I was born in the 1980s, so I grew up with physical gaming being the only real option when buying my video games. But as we all know, digital games have exploded in popularity over the last decade, and even I have found myself leaning towards the digital side of gaming, even more so now with digital options such as Steam or the excellent Game Pass. So first off, let's start off with price. Brand new physical and digital games usually release at the same price, but tend to be slightly more when opting for digital. However, a physical game usually reduces in price much quicker than a digital version. If you're looking to buy a new copy of a game a few months after it's released, the physical copy is usually cheaper. That said, most digital stores offer a lot of impressive sales nowadays. These can be enormous discounts, sometimes reducing the game's price by up to 80%, which is way cheaper than you're likely to pay for a new physical game. You will need to get lucky for the game you actually want to buy to be in one of these sales, but if it is, then you're sure to find a real bargain. The only time physical games get cheaper than these sales is when you buy them second-hand. So for me, this makes pricing a draw. Second-hand games. With a physical game, you can trade it in or sell it when you're done playing. Not only does this help you put together some cash for your next game purchase, but if you buy second-hand copies of games as well as selling them, you're likely to spend less buying games in the first place, and this was so important for me growing up as I could not afford to buy every game that I wanted at full price. It's also possible some of your physical games could become a rare collector's item, especially if boxed and in mint condition. Years from now, you might be able to sell it for many times what you paid for it. Although this is less likely with today's games and more the case for the much older console games of say the 80s and 90s. The only consideration to make is that the second-hand market doesn't support any actual game developers. To do that, you need to buy new copies of games. While some people try to sell second-hand digital games by selling their account details or consoles, this rarely works out very well. Someone could easily change their account details after selling them. They could lie about which games are on their account, or their console with the downloaded games on could break. What's more, these sales aren't strictly legal, so you get very little buyer or seller protection from eBay or other retailers that sell second-hand digital games. And finally, it can sometimes be harder getting your money back after buying digital games, with certain rules and regulations to consider depending on who you purchase from, making physical games the clear winner here. Swapping and sharing. At first, it seems like it would be easier to share a physical game with friends and family members than a digital game. All you need to do is hand over the disc or cartridge, and that person can put it in their own console and start playing it.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
However, with digital games, you can also share your account details with someone to let them log in and play any of your digitally purchased games. And you can share these details across the globe in an instant if you wanted to. Of course, you should only do this if you trust that person with your account details. But if you do, it actually means you can both play the same game at the same time. So for me, swapping and sharing is a draw. Availability. To buy a physical game, you need to find a store or online website that has it in stock. Unless it's the day of release, this usually isn't an issue for popular games. But if you're looking for a more obscure title, then you might need to hunt for it in places like eBay or Amazon. If it's a particularly old game, then it might not even be in stock anywhere. In contrast, digital games are always in stock. You don't even need to leave your home to buy a digital game, and you should have access to almost every game that was ever released on your console through the digital store. You do need to wait for a lengthy download to complete before you can start playing it, but at least pre-orders let you pre-download the game, so it's available to play the second it releases. And I think even more importantly, lots of really great indie titles never even release in physical form, which means you can only buy them digitally. So the clear winner here is digital. Pre-ordering. When it comes to pre-ordering, well, you can do that with both physical and digital games. But just like with availability, unlike the big gaming titles, a ton of smaller indie titles never get a physical release, which means you can only pre-order or buy them digitally and miss out on the many great indie titles that are out there. So only one clear winner here, that's digital. Longevity. It often gets pointed out that buying a physical game means you own it for life, whereas a digital purchase only grants you a license to play that game, which can be revoked at any time. Now that's very rare, but it does occasionally happen. Game developers can go out of business or choose to remove their games from the digital stores, and if you didn't already have the game downloaded, you can't play it again in the future. However, physical games aren't entirely protected against these problems either. It's fairly standard practice these days for physical games to require major updates before you can start playing them. The version of the game you purchased may be littered with bugs or lacking important features without those updates. If a digital game vanishes from online stores, there's a good chance you also won't be able to download and install crucial updates for the physical copy of that game either. What's more, a physical game can get lost, damaged, or stolen. So you might not be able to play it after storing it for 10 years, even if the required updates are still available. With a digital game, you can always download another copy from your account for as long as the digital store exists. Although you still need to be careful you don't lose access to your account, which can happen very easily through things like a forgotten password, getting hacked, or if you are very naughty, even a ban. If any of these things do happen, then you can lose access to all of your games as well. So, longevity is a draw. Convenience. Getting up to change the disc or cartridge in your game's console doesn't sound like it should be a big inconvenience, but once you start instantly switching between digital games, it's very difficult to go back. Digital games are all about convenience. You can hop on the digital store, buy a new game, download it in the background, and then start playing it without ever getting off the couch. If you have a portable games console like a Nintendo Switch, all your digital games are always with you, provided you have an internet connection. And moving home or traveling is far easier with a digital games collection than a physical one. You can even sign into your account on someone else's console to access your games. So again, the clear winner here is digital. Environmental impact. Not only do physical games take up more space in the real world, but manufacturing and shipping them have real world impacts as well. Game discs, cartridges, and boxes are all made from plastic, and shipping them across the globe results in a great deal of extra pollution. I am sure digital games have their own environmental impact as well, but I'm guessing it's nowhere near as bad as physical. So the winner here is obviously digital. Final thoughts. So digital games are better than physical games in almost every way. The discounts can be bigger, you can use them to game share, you never need to worry about stock levels, they're forever linked to your account, it's easy to switch between games, and they have less of an impact on the environment. Of course, physical media will always have its die-hard fans. If you want to save money or you want to show off an impressive game collection, then physical games are still the way to go. But for everything else, digital games for me are the clear winner. So guys, what are your thoughts on physical versus digital media? Which do you prefer? I would really like to know, so let me know in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys all on the next Joe Cobra video.